Hi everyone, I hope you can all hear me okay. I've had to do a bit of a short stop emergency setup this evening. Um, I've been um, having some issues with Streamlabs today. All of a sudden it's decided that it doesn't like being an administrator program. What can you do? Um, as I have no control over that at the minute, I'm just going ahead with a quick stream tonight. Covering over some of the details of what's been going on in my role-playing world this week. You can probably see right here on screen that I have something called the College of New Media. This was a bardic college. Something that I've been working on for a little while, just little pokes here and there for an idea that I had for a campaign in the modern world. For those of you who remember the D20 days, the 3X days, they had D20 Modern back in those days, which was basically Dungeons and Dragons in the modern world with modern weapons and everything that goes along with that. And I considered the possibility of maybe reviving a campaign like that. Not sure if I'll have time. I've got a few campaigns going on at the moment. But if that possibility does come up, apologies, I wouldn't mind having a few unique features that are on my own that my players can enjoy, that viewers can enjoy as well. And this was one of the ideas I came up with. The idea being that it's a bard, but it's a bard who's kind of like an internet celebrity, who uses the knowledge and wisdom of his followers as a source of power. And you can see in this that everything's about having a following and online presence. The first feature at third level is remote inspiration, and the notion with that one being that your party are part of your followers and you can inspire them onto greater things. So when you inspire one person using an inspiration die, you can use the same die with a second person using your app. The image I had in my head, silly as it was the way people post motivational pictures. Yeah, this is it. Your app sends a motivational picture to someone, and they gain the benefit of the inspiration die that you've just given to someone else. Interesting notion that, but hey, shared inspiration die maybe a little bit too powerful for third level, but I thought that was worth a go. The next one was following. And the idea of following was that you have people who follow you, and you can kind of tap into their knowledge to make a charisma-based check. And it's like the crowd is behind you. This is what you do. So you gain advantage on that check because I suppose your reputation precedes you. You're well enough known that your charisma checks are kind of your fame powers your charisma checks, and you can use that a few times. And then obviously you have your online presence, and this is as the most powerful ability. Bards don't seem to get that much, but hey, your online presence that gives you the ability to almost like a divine intervention that you can gain assistance. And if you can roll a percentage roll at less than your level plus your charisma modifier, you get the answer to a one-time manifestation of a spell, but it can be a spell from any class. So this is the advantage that you get, that your following inspires you on to greater things. So once per long rest, you can use your following, your online presence, to kind of gain the support of your people. You know, think of it in terms of like gaining something from a Kickstarter, or a new Patreon support or something like that. That somebody's giving you a new tool that you can use, and that takes the form of a spell from another class. So I thought that would be good. But as you can see, one of the things that you do get at third level that all bards seem to get is extra proficiencies. And I thought in terms of those, they would have to fit into the modern world. So I've also come up with a few kind of modern proficiencies that bards can make use of. computer technology, putting together computers, networks, cabling, stuff like that, that you can use to create a communications network. Isn't that what birds are all about? So it helps you to make connections, and maintain a connection to your phone, which is where all your power comes from. Mobile technology, again the same thing, but based around the idea of that there are mobile networks out there, and you know how to maintain them, tap them, take advantage of them, hack into them, even as necessary. And that also ties in with the coding proficiency. The coding proficiency gives you the ability to script, to build apps, to build full-on programs, to build websites, to hack scripts into existing systems. And you can use your knowledge of coding to do that. So just the idea of trying to kind of twist Dungeons and Dragons into the modern setting again, and from that to maybe build a new type of game. Now, in part, this was inspired by the Retroverse. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Retroverse, but two amazing guys, Snicklesocks and Luis Abadias on Twitter, have been putting together a kind of a Dungeons and Dragons hack world based around almost like a 80s tacky futurism from the 1980s. Futurism from the 1980s, that's the best description of it. So they've had their Kickstarter going for a while. They funded pretty quickly. They actually managed to fund it on day one. Okay, nobody's getting to the levels of the Critical Role Kickstarter, but hey. And with less than 2 days to go, they are at, what is it? They're almost at like 700% of their goal. 600-700%. There's still people backing them, you know, they're still getting the money coming in, but they're doing incredibly well. So many congratulations to both those guys. They put a huge amount of work into it. They were going to launch the Kickstarter last year, but they realized at the time that the product that they wanted to make just wasn't going to work. So they decided to put it on hold and build a much better product, build a much better promotion, and I think it was well worth the wait. The work that they've put in now is pretty phenomenal, and I think that they both should be proud of themselves. What else have I got to talk about this week? Well, my Dark Sun campaign is back up and running. We started again last Thursday. We're going again this Thursday. It has been great to be back in the driving seat with it. Life's a pain, gets in the way sometimes, nothing you can do about that. But the Dark Sun campaign is back up and running. Last week we kind of split the adventure last week because Kazuki needed to be caught up with the timeline, and she needed to learn a bit about her get your brain in your own. Yeah, she needed to learn a bit about her about magic. She had found a book with spells in it. She wanted to make use of it, so she went to a friend of her father, who, in theory, was going to be the one who might be able to teach her. But he was quite resistant because, for those who do know, you know what magic does in the Dark Sun world. For those who don't, magic actually damages the world around you as you're using it. This is not a benefit. So the man that you want to meet was quite resistant to teaching her magic. His name was Garrus. He may come up again and again. But when he refused, although some people encouraged her to kind of double down, you know, Garrus is a pushover, really, you'll break him down. Another option came up. When the players were in the mansion in Lunes a few sessions ago, they picked up the bones of a child that they found in a crevice in one of the walls, in a hiding hole in one of the walls. And Thera, who is Kazuki's character, decided to take those bones and give them a proper burial. When she arrived home from Garrus's house, she had a dream with the girl in it, whose name was Mots. and Moths told her about the Master, who is a prisoner somewhere in the world, because he was a master of one of the elements, a master of fire, and the other masters, as they became weaker in the world, Dark Sun is a desert, water is weakened, sand, silt, there is some rock, but earth is weakened, and air kind of weakened. Haven't gone into the gory details of that, but they became jealous, and they locked up the Master of Fire. The Master of Fire is now asking to be freed, and Kazuki has agreed. So what we've got next week is a level 1 fighter, level 1 warlock, who is now on a mission to free this Master of Fire from whatever prison he's currently in, a prison that she got to see temporarily in her dream. So that's a big step up for her. She's got magic now. It's going to be less damaging. I've decided that Warlock's magic doesn't really do the same amount of damage to the environment that a wizard's magic would do, for example. So she's taken that away. She's going to go and find the Master, free them, and maybe find out what's going on there. She has been given a warning that the Master is currently being watched over by a champion of the other elemental masters, so something will come of that. Another part that's come up, Book Zombie's character, Chukta, discovered that there was one other member of his tribe, at least one other member of his tribe, still alive. He thought they'd all been wiped out, but this was someone who'd been sent into exile. And in the previous episode, he discovered that somebody had been experimenting on the tribe's eggs, and this may be where the disease came from. So, Chukta has made contact with this member of his tribe, and is now, as of this week, has received a message to say that this person has been put on trial. Those who've been following, there's a guy who's been following them around a bit. Quite the smarmy looking guy who's been just waiting for his opportunity to put Chukta in prison, or to sell him into slavery for a profit. But it looks like this is the guy who reported Grakcha, who is the other 3 green, as being out of home and attempting to escape flying bunny rabbits. So he's has been accused of attempting to escape. Now there's more details that they need to make before this, but they'll be able to find, there's a hall, a civic hall. I'm calling it the Barl Gothar, which means Hall of the People. The Barl Gothar is where they'll find the information on what other accusations have been made, whether any accusations have been made against Chukta. So next week we're going to be starting from that place. They know that Grakcha is under arrest, charged with attempting to escape, and potentially co-conspirators will also be accused. In theory, that could include Chukta, but we'll see where it goes from there. So 2 major changes in the story in a very short space of time. The main one being, well, the more immediate one being Grakcha, and the fact that he will probably be executed for his attempt to escape. And the secondary one being, or the more distant one being freeing the Master of Fire. Hopefully these will all go well. Like I said, technical difficulties this evening, so I've actually stepped back to OBS temporarily to see if I can sort out some of the difficulties that are there, and if I can sort those out and get that back up and running next week. Even if I can sort it out in OBS, I'll get my music back. You can probably hear that there is no music running this week, but the music that I have been using, the Telfer music, is by Current Sun, that you can see now in the chat. You can see this Red Raiders logo at the bottom. I am running this campaign on the Thread Raiders channel. I've just posted a link there to the Thread Raiders Twitter. Once we get back up and running normally on Thursdays, the Thursday evenings will always be on twitch.tv/threadraiders. Also, for anybody who's interested, the Thread Raiders are trying to raise money for a charity event, and we're hopefully, see if I've got this right. Have I forgotten my command? I forgot my command. Oh, that's embarrassing. Will be having to do this stuff in the background. It's slightly embarrassing, wouldn't you think? We're trying to raise money for Stinkrat streams, and I hope you guys would support that. As soon as I get the link up, you'll know where to go to do that. Let's get my custom commands here. Stink Razor, that's what I call it. Once we have the that's the GoFundMe link for raising money for the Stink Razor, and hopefully you guys will be able to help out a bit. It's been a pleasure chatting with you this evening. Not too short tonight, a little short, but I think I've covered all the major beats that I wanted to cover this evening. I'll let you guys go for a moment. It's been don't forget Thursday nights with the changeover in the times. We are going to be going, instead of running at 4 p.m. Eastern, it will be 5 p.m. Eastern for the next 3 weeks, and then it will back to 4 p.m. after that once Britain and Europe swap back to normal summertime. In the meantime, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, you can. If you would like to check out DM's Guild, then you can have a look at my College of New Media Bard. I'd appreciate it if you download, and if you like what you see, or if you have any suggestions or criticisms, drop a review in there. Reviews are always handy. It lets me know that people are engaged, it lets me know that people are enjoying the stuff, or not enjoying the stuff. You know, you may want to criticize, you may want to say it's not very good, but I'd appreciate it if you tell me why. I don't mind criticism as long as I know what's wrong with it. That way, I can work on making things better. And hopefully, let me just grab you a link for the part. Hopefully, I can make the kind of content that you guys actually want, because that's what it's all about. So far, I've been very lucky in that it's been up for less than 2 days, and there's already been 17 downloads. No paying customers yet, but you know, can't expect everything. Let me just copy a link there and throw it in the chat for you. So this is the College of New Media Bard, and there's a link for you you can go to check that out. So thanks for your time, everybody. Thanks for sticking with me, and thanks for joining me while I've been going through my technical difficulties this evening. I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you, and good night.